Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background. I'm an author and the creator of Truth and Empathy Questionnaire. In this video, we're going to be exploring the concepts of sexual orientation, gender, and personality types. So sex usually has to do with your reproductive organs, so whether they identify as male or female. And obviously there are some people who are hermaphrodites, but this is more of a special case. When you talk about gender, gender is what society expects from someone who has either male or female genitalia. So they expect the person to behave a certain way, to appear physically a certain way. So most people are not born with having certain preferences for gender. It has to do with what is imposed on them based on how they appear, the male or female. And when it comes to personality types, that is kind of interesting because you can have a person who is, who's heterosexual, has male genital, but has more of a feminine energy, but they are not gay or they are heterosexual. So that can be kind of cute because in our society, we tend to expect, let's say, someone who's male or female to act a certain way or having certain feelings or react a certain way, and it doesn't necessarily match with who they are in terms of their personality type, because personality type is almost like your brain type, and you can be a woman and have a masculine energy to you, but you are still straight or heterosexual. And it's kind of interesting because when let's sort of break down even in terms of sexual orientation. Sexual orientation is the result of a number of factors. For example, genes, uterine hormones. So while you were in your mother's womb, the environmental influences. Let's say even the woman's diet. There could be her stress level that can influence the hormones that is going to influence the fetus. Other conventional, well, the conventional sexual orientation will be heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, and asexual. Based on statistics, about 95% of people identify as heterosexual. And when it comes to the less common ones, and there's actually a longer list of sexual orientation, you could have transgendered, transsexual, intersex, questioning, two-spirited. So it's pretty complex and varied when you think about it. So essentially, if you look at these different concepts, sex is what appears to be in terms of your sexual organs. Gender has to do with how society assigns certain behaviors, or they have different expectations in terms of like your profession, or even whether you should be more aggressive or more assertive, more passive. They all are usually linked to how a person appears, and also depends on times in history. So let's say if we went back 100 years ago, women were expected to maybe be more passive or less maybe ambitious. So it depends on the time in history, and also in terms of which country as well. Some countries are more progressive than others, so that also can influence how a person will act based on their apparent sex. And sexual orientation is usually set. So in other words, gender roles is more can be more changed. There's more flexibility, whereas sexual orientation tends to be more fixed in terms of a person being attracted to either someone from the opposite sex or same sex, or some people are attracted to both. So it tends to be more fixed than gender roles and how they identify, whether they are more male or female in terms of how society perceives them to be. So I trust that this information was interesting. If you did enjoy it, please click on the button and subscribe to our channel. Talk to you soon.